The second like this was supposed to start, the neighbors across the street were cutting grass. Like, you gotta be kidding.
Oh, of course.
I'm guessing you can't hear them. So anyway, all right, recording there. We're good there. Awesome. Ready?
Ready?
Hello and welcome to the Preferred Contractors podcast, where we give you actionable steps to grow your contracting business. I'm your host, Jordan Harrison. In today's episode, we're going to dive into the client journey. We're going to talk about everything from the beginning to the end, all the touch points, everything from the content to the marketing, all the way to the back end. Once you've completed the work, how you follow up, all that kind of stuff. And excuse me, in today's episode, we have brought on Miss Brittany Churchill, COO of Kyber Digital, branding expert, systems expert, everything, Dinosaur expert, everything you can name it. We've got under the sun there. We brought her on today to talk about that and kind of help clarify that for contractors. So Brittany, welcome again, two-timer on the podcast.
Thanks for having me back. It's great to be here with you again.
Yeah, so this is awesome. So we're going to I want to go through kind of each of the steps and kind of break it down, because some people don't even understand what a client's journey is, or some people call it a buyer's journey to a client's journey. Potato, right? But it's how a person becomes a customer, all the way through how you finish and complete the job, and reviews and referrals. So we're going to start really on the front end side, because I think a lot of it has to do with the marketing and the branding and how you speak to them. So if somebody is kind of mapping out the steps of their client journey in their business, which they should be doing, and we've got worksheets in the group that go over how to do that. It's in there. They're in the guides with walkthroughs and everything. Yeah, they're all in there. So talk to us real quick. So the beginning stages of this, like what are we doing if we're like, all right, I need to look at the beginning stages of my client journey. Like where do they need to start?
So, I use the example of gyms because we've all been there on January 1st. I almost said July 1st because we're here in the summer, but January 1st, where all of a sudden you get tons of advertising, there's bulletins up, there's flyers everywhere, and you start noticing the gyms nearby, right? But really, those gyms start significantly earlier, where you learn about their brand. So it's the difference between whether you go to a Crunch gym or if you're going to like a fancy, maybe like one of those like Orange Theories or F45s, or even like a spa like yoga studio, right? You start learning about all those different kinds of places to work out well before you even see those advertisements in January 1st. So that's where the customer journey really starts, is how they perceive your brand, so that the first time they're really advertised to, they feel good about what they're seeing rather than learning from the first. So it's expensive if your customer is learning about you in an ad, right? You want them to learn about you organically ahead of time. So what can you do for them to organically see you? Well, you could be out in the community, especially if you're a specific like area driven business, or you can be available digitally online everywhere, which is something we do a lot of at Kyber, right? It's making sure you're seen and you're giving great content, kind of similar to what you do, Jordan, educating a lot of people, right? We have to all think about our business as an education first. So you have to teach them something like why your product is valuable. So if you're selling a roof, why a great roof is really valuable versus one that's falling apart, right? Why it's important to fix that well before there's a problem. And maybe even educating on like, how often should I be repairing this? Or how often should I have a plumber come check my pipes? Those pieces of information can be floating out there in Instagram, Facebook, Google. Blogs on your website are a great place to populate all of this. If people feel like you're good at what you do, and that might be defined by, great content, that might be defined by having a very, polished look, like your website matches your other materials, or your truck looks really good when it's driving down the street. All of those things are really important as the customer starts to gather information. They may not even realize they're doing it, right? But they see your business along the way. Like, you notice when a fancy truck drives down your street versus one that's the paint's falling apart, or there's mismatched doors or something, right? It's that perception that's coming well before. And then hopefully by the time they see that first ad, right? Or maybe it's the first time you send out a flyer or something, they're like, oh, I've seen that truck. I've seen those guys. They've always got the polos on. They look sharp. I've seen them and I feel good about this. What are they advertising to me? And then when they see that ad, they're witnessing your offer. So maybe it's like a percentage off, or maybe it's a free service that you're doing, like a free inspection or something. All of those things are ways to get them in, but it's certainly not going to be an instant buy. And so that's why you really want that perception ahead of time. So like if you think about it with the gym, right? Everyone knows that you could go to the gym and lose weight, but it's like those things where you go online, you see, oh, fast way to lose weight because you drink extra water, or the importance of getting sunshine. It's all the things that are even like surrounding your business. Maybe you partner with another company, so many good things that you could do there. And then hopefully they become a customer. The first thing they do is either a salesperson or a customer success manager, whomever you've got being the first human being that they talk to. That is the most important person. So if you spend money on hiring, it's that. And that might sound crazy because for your business, it could be like a secretary, right? But make sure that the person picking up the phone, or if it's even a digital answering machine, right? Something that's pre-recorded, has to be someone who sounds warm, welcoming, trusting, confident. All of those things need to be there. Jordan, do you remember when we were talking about someone picking up the phone and being like, hello? And that's the first thing they hear. And so now they think, did I call the wrong person? They're in a state of, did I dial the wrong number? They get nervous. They start to check their phone. Like, you got to make sure that it feels good when they answer the phone. And it's so funny how often, like, how many businesses have you called that's happened to you? I know we were talking about this recently in like a group chat, right? It happens all the time. I forget where I recently called. It was like a big store. It might have been like it wasn't a Home Depot, but in that kind of realm, like maybe an Ace Hardware or like a local hardware store. And they said was hello. And I for sure hung up the phone and checked the number I dialed. And thank goodness I called back, but they could have really lost the customer. And I think what's really important about that is you make that first human interaction feel, unfortunately, it's that warm and fuzzy that you got to go for, right? Even if you're not a warm and fuzzy person, whoever's answering your phone's got to be. Make sure you represent the business well. You say your business name. If you're not available, make sure the answering machine lets them know the timeline they can expect a call back. All of those things, so important. On the flip side of that, what if they don't ever call? What if they check out your website and fill out a form, right? So no human interaction. That has to be so good. I wouldn't rely on any old form fill. I'd make sure you've got a professional looking over it, making sure it's easy to read, easy to understand, and that you kick back an automated thank you. We've received your message. We promise to get back to you within whatever, 2 to 3 business days, 24 hours, if you're a 24-hour service, something like that. So both of those first interactions are super important. Make sure that if you book something, there's always some sort of follow-up, whether it's a text message or an email, that they have a reference point. And if you're a service that sends a tech, like if you're going to send somebody to a home, make sure they have 3 things, right? They have a branded car or physical card or ID badge that they have, so that when the car pulls up, if they get out of something that's theirs, they still look and represent the part, or the vehicle looks really good, right? You want to make sure that they're dressed well for their job. They don't need to be in a suit and tie, but needs to be branded, or at least in your color palette, no holes, nice shoes, and get those covers, because people are really weird about you wearing your dirty shoes in their house, right?
The little
I know I am.
booties. Get the
Yeah,
little
the
booties and put
little,
them on.
they're so easy. Yeah, and don't even have them ask. Just have them make it a natural thing that they do for every home. It just elevates your business, and it's a really cheap way to do it. And the third thing is make sure that they receive something as a takeaway whenever somebody leaves their home. So if you've created an inspection or a free service that they're doing, make sure there's a really nice packet or something they receive that you filled out along the way. Or if they've done like the initial meeting or an assessment of some kind, and you're going to take the next steps, make sure they've received a detailed either receipt or they know what the next steps are. Maybe you're going to follow up in a day or two, whatever it is, make sure they're leaving with something physical. It's such an interesting thing, right? Because we're so digital these days, and an automated email, all those things are really important. But you want something that's on their fridge, and I'll tell you why. They remember you, they see it regularly, whether it's on their counter or their fridge, they're passing by it maybe a few days in a row, and they remember the interaction and feel good about it, right? Think about people you've met in your life that you don't know, whether it's like at the grocery store or even at a gym, right? You walk in, when the person behind the counter is like, "Hi, welcome," and not like, looks like you haven't worked out in a while, right? Those two interactions are so different. How do you feel about that, right? You want someone that's like, "Hi, welcome, glad you're here," not like, "You really should get your butt to the gym," you know?
Yeah.
So you want to feel that feeling of warmth, and that whoever that tech that was there was really helpful when they left that piece of paper, that feeling comes back. And so what you're doing is creating this deeper connection. It's psychology, right? So we tend to go to things that are familiar, comfortable, easy. You're never going to take the path of least resistance for a home service ever. It's your home. It's where you feel the most comfortable. It's what you want to protect. You may take that route in your job. You may take that route in a hike you want to do. Absolutely, you're not going to do the hardest route for your home. You're going to always try to do the easiest. So let's give them that feeling along the way.
Yeah.
After
And
you complete the survey, yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
no, well, no,
I could talk for hours.
no, and it's great. No, I was going to go back for a second. You talk about physical touch for a moment. Jay and I were talking about this the other day, where it's, people, where everybody's always talking about go paperless, go, everything's digital, whatever. But there's something about that physical touch sometimes that you leave something, hand somebody that brings back. They go, "Oh yeah, I remember that." Oh yeah. And so it never hurts to have that education pamphlet or whatever it is, that's in their hand that they may put it on their counter like I do. If you look at the end of my bar counter in the kitchen, it's like receipts, mails, and whatever somebody passed by. And you said magnet, and I didn't think about that, having a magnet that just slaps on your fridge. The same real estate people that I bought our house from 7 years ago, like they're still on top of my mind. Like, we're looking to buy a house in 5 years again. Like, I keep getting the same stuff over and over again, so that you never know.
Yeah. So I think I've told you I used to work in college admissions, right? And one of the things that we talked about a lot was how, as an 18-year-old, you've probably never received mail other than like maybe a birthday card from grandma, or even those have kind of really gone out of style. So what feels really exciting when you get mail? It's that it's not a bill, right? A, it's not a bill, and B, it's specialized for you. So if you're going to leave something, a magnetic business card with your name, the phone number, even just a QR code with the business's logo, easy. They stick it on their fridge. A, it's useful. B, it's always available. And then you've got the QR code. Maybe people ask, "Oh, who'd you get your sliding glass doors from?" And they'd be, "Oh, the QR code's on the fridge." How easy is that, right? So then your automated referrals, things like that. So highly recommend magnets, but even a brochure that feels like nice to the touch. I don't necessarily recommend leaving a paper bill, right? They kind of feel outdated, and those get like filed away. Those you can definitely send in an email, but
Yes.
something like you said, a brochure, something really nice. And I will give you a tidbit. Magnets tend to be way less expensive than a 5 to 10 page brochure, unless it's really valuable for you. The magnets with the QR codes are like, they're a really good secret.
Yeah. Well, I never think about that. And then you throw the QR code, send them to a page that has all the information I need, right? Although that is an extra step, but still it's a cheaper option for those who don't have the money to spend on an expensive pamphlet.
It's so much cheaper, and you can change that QR code to be up to date, right? A pamphlet, the downside to a pamphlet is to get out of date quickly. If you can create a magnet with your logo that looks super sharp, it kind of has that velvety touch to it with the QR code, you can update that QR code page every time they use it. You can even have banner, Christmas special, summer special, things that, new products. It doesn't have to be your homepage that it takes them to. So QR codes are very flexible in that way and can be really helpful too.
Yeah. And so, and that's a lot of great information, especially on the front end, because people don't think about all the touch points that you can you can reach out to somebody, right? Not, you've got direct mail campaigns now that are trackable, right? People that say direct mail doesn't track anymore, you can. So you can get ahead of people, stay on top of mind through that. And they're pretty affordable from last time I checked. So just all the people thinking about what are the different ways I can be contacted, or it's not just Google, right? You can say Google's king, but I called garage door company. I keep getting stuff in the mail for garage door company, and I've seen them on little advertisements that come in my mail. Well, my garage door broke the other day. That brand popped in my head. I did go to Google, but once I found that brand and connected the two, because I didn't have the flyer right then and there, that's who I called. And luckily, guess what? When I called, they had a warm, friendly person answer the phone. I called at 8:30
Nice.
that morning. They had somebody there and fixed before noon.
That's awesome.
That was great. Now I did tell Jay we had this on the podcast, and I still got to call them. They didn't follow up with the review stuff, and we'll get to that in a minute. There was they're like, I told them, oh, y'all were fantastic. You educated us. I'll leave your review. I got no code, no link, nothing for me to leave that review. And I did see the reviews were down. And were they compared to the level of service they got, didn't have a lot of reviews. So anyways, I'm gonna hit him back up with that. I keep saying that, but I will, I promise.
Yeah, help them out. It's so interesting you say that, because I feel the same way. I feel like a lot of the companies that I look at or have had interaction with that I love, I'm like, how do they only have 25-star reviews? Now, 5-star reviews all around, but only 20? It doesn't make sense. They've probably seen 5 people that day, and I had a great experience. Automating your post experience is one of those things that keeps people coming back for more. And like I mentioned, also recommending you, right? Because then they remember your name and all of those things. I don't always recommend creating an email list, right? You can, it's great to have their email, and maybe you want to send something out like once a quarter, but it's a lot of work to have a regular email list for something that maybe, if you are in the business of home services where it's not something that they'll need even every year, it's a long customer life cycle, right? They're not coming back to you for another 2, 3, 4 years. So what you're hoping to get out of them, right, is a recent recommendation. You have to make it easy for them. So if you send a follow-up email with a review link, refer a friend link, get credit, get whatever, those are great. But I particularly like handing something right at the, they just had that experience. Or even if you have an iPad with you while you're finishing up, if you've had a great experience, we'd love for you to take this survey while I clean up here. Have
Yeah.
them fill it out right then and there. And then at the end of that survey, say, can we use this online? Done. Makes it really easy for them they're standing there anyway. Might as well put
Yeah.
them to work, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about we're hitting on the back end. So I want to kind of
Yeah.
on the follow-up side and getting people to leave referrals, but let's go backwards for a second to kind of the middle. Like you got beginning, middle, end. So let's talk about the actual journey itself of doing the work. And I think a lot of contractors make the mistake where they're like, well, I'm really good at my job and I did quality work. Great. But if you made them feel like dirt or you made them feel uncomfortable, that's what they're going to remember. It's always a feeling. And whether you're not a warm, fuzzy person or not, like you said, you have to be. You have to make people feel good. And we had our podcast guest, Jonathan was on. He's HVAC guy, and he makes it a point when he goes into his homes is to make sure that they feel comfortable, especially like let's go male female for just a moment. You have a male coming into your home, the wife's home alone, like that male has to make that female feel comfortable about him coming into their home and feel professional. At any point in time they feel uncomfortable, no matter how good the work is, you've lost that customer, right? Even, I mean, yeah, you got paid.
Absolutely.
So I think I'm gonna put it back on you now and stop talking. Let's go back. Let's go back. So let's go to the middle part. So let's talk about just the whole process of you have to educate the customer on what happens before you come in the home, and hitting all those touch points after you've closed the sale and you're doing a maintenance or install or whatever it is. So talk about the importance of feeling, I guess, because it's got to go with your branding on the front end. The feeling, what should they be thinking about the whole way from the time they start a job to they end a job? Like what are the steps they should be constantly tweaking and making better?
So one thing I'll say that's really important, especially if you're dealing with the generation that's currently first-time home buyers, right? So there are a lot of first-time home buyers who are building or fixing up homes who have never had this experience. A lot of millennials, and we know this, right? Even late Gen Zers are buying homes for the first time, have lived at home for a long time, and were renters for a long time, right? So they've had really weird experiences for most of their 20, early 30-year-old lives. So thinking about them, right? And the reason I say that is they have the most income to spend on their homes right now. So you're probably going to run into a lot of them. And I think what's interesting is you can catch them on the digital end first. So you book an appointment. Let's say you are a garage door repairman, because that's what you just had, Jordan. If that's your job, if you book an appointment, immediately they should get a follow-up email that says exactly what time you're coming. Even if it's a window, it gives a clear window, date and time are there, and also what services you're providing. If you're going to do a repair, if you're just going to do an inspection for a repair, maybe it says repair inspection, and as much of the repair as possible may require a follow-up visit, always giving them the steps that are clear. Or if you're going to offer a free service along with it, like we're also going to make sure that the light's working in your garage door or something along those lines, right? Or we're going to check to make sure nothing else needs a repair. Garage door is a little weird one, right? But if you're a plumber, maybe you're going to say, we're going to check the sink in the kitchen, but we're going to also inspect the X or Y because they're on the same pipeline, or maybe, something about the house is old and they'd like to do a free inspection. All of those things need to be listed in the email before they get there so they know exactly what to expect. Like I mentioned, when your technician shows up at the door looking good, whether it's making sure that everybody has a polo every day or some sort of work outfit that feels comfortable for them, right? Make sure your employees are feeling good and confident, but also make them look professional. A badge or some kind of business card is always good. You want them to feel like, we've all seen those murder mysteries on TV, right? They're all over Netflix. You just want to make sure that they don't feel like they're running into that situation. So it feels really good. They come in, they always have a pen, they have some sort of printed workout, or maybe it's the iPad that they can show some of that information on. The other thing is, if you know their name coming in, you can say, hi, Mr. or Mrs. You can say Brittany or Jordan. If you know their first name, you can always ask on the phone, have whoever's receiving that order, who will be home? How can we address them, right? Really easy, takes 30 seconds, but it's a nice little tidbit to put on the iPad information or the printout. Another great thing is just to walk up and say, how can I address you, sir, ma'am, and get their name so that you can remember their name and have those interactions that feel more personal. Like I mentioned, the booties, really important. It doesn't matter what home you're going into. It's just such a sign of respect, especially for so many cultures that really don't wear shoes in their house. Or you don't know, they could have had new floors put in, especially if they're doing housework, right? So,
Yes.
so just being respectful of that. And then I would also always double check, is it okay that I leave my car on the street in the driveway? It's just like an extra little question that's like, wow, they're so thoughtful. They're double, triple checking everything. That means they're going to be detail oriented in their work. Really simple questions that you can add to that first interaction when they're at your home that makes it feel like every step of this process will feel organized, professional. That way, we're all human. You mess up down the line, they felt really good about you in the beginning. It's an easier fix down the line than if it was the interaction was kind of weird at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's always good to let people know when you're coming in and out of the home. So, summer, I don't know if you've been to Arizona, Jordan, but my sister lives there. It is 115 degrees today. It is brutally hot. If you're going to leave that door open, they're coming after you, right? The
Yes.
air conditioning cannot leave the house. So double checking to make sure you can get in and out easily. Is it okay if I A, take a key temporarily, or B, keep the door unlocked, something, or just, letting them know when you're going to come in and out. And if you need to make a call, either step outside or to your car, or let them know, I need to call my supervisor and have this approved. It's always good to communicate along the job with what's going on. I know, any first-time home buyer, especially a few of my friends I've been talking to recently. It's really nerve-wracking when somebody's checking out your pipes for a long time. They're in your sink, they're under your sink, and you're like, what's going on? Is this going to cost me 300 or 10,000? Right? Like you start to get
Yes.
that panic because it's been too long. Yeah. I don't think that's a first time home buyer thing either. I think that's anybody. You start to get a little nervous. So it's always good to say, it's looking good down here, but I am worried about this. I'm going to take another 30 minutes to review something. Giving people constant communication. It feels like extra work, but honestly, goes a long, long way. The last thing I'll say is that if you find that there's one person or two people in the home, but the person that's really either was the point of contact or payment, or maybe it's a married couple in the house, right? Making sure that you can say, is there someone I should CC on these emails, or making sure everybody's in the loop, right? It's just a nice extra thoughtful thing. But again, really easy to do. I think those are all the points. Did I hit everything? I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was sitting there going, no, I'm thinking through my brain about the most recent interactions I've had with contractors, from garage door to HVAC, and I think they hit it all. I remember our HVAC unit we installed it like a little over 3 years ago. But I do remember it was like end of May, and it's still hot here. It's not 115 degrees hot, but it's still 90s with 75 to 100% humidity. And I told those guys, we left the house. I was like, hey, look, we're gonna stay out of your way. Here's how you can get in and out. Here's some water for you. Here's this, here's that, whatever. And and they had to cut a hole in my ceiling too, because they put a new air handler up top. My air handler is a different way. Long story short, anyways, but I do remember they did make us feel comfortable. They're super nice. They, even the day when I purchased and did the financing stuff, they sat me down the table, walked me through options, and then the day of the install, they just talked us through which part they were doing first, second, expectations, and luckily they got it all done in a day. But I don't know how they did it.
It's amazing. And that reminds me, two things. We just had a service provider come to our house here, and one thing that I was just so impressed by was they brought a duster. They had a little like mini vacuum that with them, and a what are those called? Like Swiffer dusters. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about? Like
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And just to clean up, my mouth was like on the floor. I was like, wow, that is so nice of them. He didn't do anything that made a mess. He just made sure that everywhere he had put his belongings just got a nice little sweep. Took him 30 seconds. It was really very kind of him. And the other thing that I thought was really interesting was when he came in, he put all the stuff on the floor. I've seen a lot of people put things on furniture, which is fine. I don't care. But I think there are people who have purchased really expensive dressers or other things, and maybe your clipboard isn't the cleanest thing you own, or your bag isn't the cleanest thing you own. Maybe it's been on the driveway once or twice. It is thoughtful, right, to put things down rather than on an expensive marble table or something, depending on the kind of home you're in. And even not, it could be fully under construction. Just being thoughtful about where you place your things and how you clean up after yourself makes a huge difference, even if you didn't really make a mess. I will say that we had someone here when we were redoing our floors, and it was a total disaster. And he went to go, I was like, don't even bother. There's way too much dust in here. So, I'm sure that people will be able to communicate with you, but it's definitely worth taking those few extra things. They don't really cost a lot of money to make your business look that extra 10% above the rest. And it certainly left an impression on me. I know that kind of service left an impression on you too. So definitely makes a difference. We talked a little bit about the post experience, but I would say one thing that's pretty great that a lot of people are starting to do, but it hasn't caught on everywhere, is someone follows up from the office. If you have a secretary sitting in your office and she's taking phone calls, once a week, call all the jobs that are complete and say, we just wanted to make sure everything was working for you, that you had a wonderful experience. Can you answer 2 or 3 questions? Or even just That's it. I just wanted to make sure everything was great and that you had no complaints, because what you'll likely hear is people give you rave reviews, which A, makes the person at the front feel great because they love hearing how awesome your business is, and maybe can even take some notes down for the technicians that went in there. You can even give bonus points or gift cards for somebody that gets really rave reviews. That's a great way to keep retention for your employees. But it also makes the people on the other end feel good. Oh, they're checking up on me. They're making sure there wasn't a problem. That that can go a really long way and shouldn't take that much time depending on how much business you're doing.
Well, it's funny. So I almost feel like it's kind of like closing a sale where it's like, hey, you're not calling to ask how they're doing just for a review. You're like, hey, I'm truly interested in making sure that we took care of everything. But in along with that, they've already got the automated text message or email saying, hey, I need to do that. So literally, I feel like if somebody followed up with me as a homeowner and they're like, hey, we're just checking to make sure everything was good, and they didn't ask me for a review at all, they're like, is there anything else we could do for you? Whatever. They're doing their due diligence and making sure that we're taken care of. My first thought is, oh yeah, they sent me an email. Let me hop on there real quick. Let me do that.
Yes.
Let me go leave that review because they followed up. And I'm going to talk about what they just did. They just followed up with me, check and make sure everything was good. The whole experience was great. And so I think if you eliminate that, we're calling to get a review. How you doing? Set that up with an automated.
You're still going to get one. Yeah.
Yes. So I think that's it.
Yeah,
And once again, with Google being king, I think it's like 35% of your online rankings weights. I think it's somewhere around there. Last time I read had to do with your reviews on Google. And that's a big chunk. That's a massive chunk of SEO.
It's so funny because I talk to so many clients about this. How do you pick where you're going to eat dinner on Friday? Right? How do you pick where you're going to have your pizza delivered from? Hardly ever do we do anything without reading somebody else's review. I know as a female who likes to buy clothes, I look at reviews on Amazon. I look at like how people say, oh, that fit too big or that was too small. We rely on digital data from every point of our life. So to think that that wouldn't be true for something as expensive as a home service, right? That's a much bigger purchase than a pair of jeans. I think it's important for us to remember how much they rely on other people's opinions, which is crazy. We've never met those people, right? I think about that all the time. It's like, we look at our Uber coming to pick us up. If they've got a 5-star review, we feel confident. We don't know any of those people they've picked up in the past, but
Yes.
but we trust that group collective opinion. So it is really important. It's something that's become part of our life. Yeah.
And I think one thing to piggy, because we were looking at slides this past weekend for our kid's birthday, like a water slide, something that
Fun.
I think, yeah, I know we're looking at a really big one. I was like, nah, they won't deliver to where we're having it. But what I found was pictures or video. Like, I'm trying to gauge how big that slide is. I'm trying to gauge, will this work for me? And so the power of adding those pictures or videos, and I know they don't all go in the Google reviews. I know they're all over Amazon, but like having those pictures that could make me realize, okay, this would fit or not fit, or I see human sticks next to this slide, I know how tall it is. That was super helpful. So when you do add those on your social channels where you got people on video, or even a picture of them smiling saying, hey, we enjoyed the job, like picture's fine too. Some people don't want to talk, but a picture next to the whatever that you took care of also goes a long way in the review side. And I think something you can't overlook.
No, and you know what's crazy? So, we just got married. We finally had our reception, and every single one of our vendors asked for a review, photo or video, the day of towards the end of our wedding. Like, our DJ came up and had us film something. And you know what? I did it because I was like, you know what? I watched 30 of these before I picked you guys. So it was great. And it's so good to get it right on the spot. Took 5 seconds. And I will tell you, if I could do it on my wedding day, most people will do it in their home for 2 seconds. It really isn't a big ask. Or just asking, can I film this really quick? I won't share your name or your house number or where you live, any of that. I just, and I won't show any pictures of your family just under your sink, or just making sure that they know that you're not going to share personal information. I think, it's great. One thing I will say, Jordan, which you almost touched on, and it sparked this idea that I didn't mention, is put the human beings that are showing up to people's houses on your Instagram or on your Facebook or on your Google. If they recognize someone face, like, oh, that was one of the guys in the picture. I know, it makes such a difference to know that the tech coming to your house or the manager coming to your house has a a smiling face, or even said why he liked working there on your recent post. Those make big differences because they give a human element to your brand, which I know we talked about the last time.
Well, and it's funny to say that. I just finished a content video on why your employees should be on TikTok for your business. Literally just finished that probably like last night or night before, on how
I
important
love
it
it.
is. Yeah, not so even if you're not on TikTok, but like put them on Instagram or Facebook, wherever you have them, but having them on there being a cheerleader for your company, just company culture, personality. It allows you to, you got some people that are that maybe you got some people that are like, hey, I like to dance and do TikTok and trendy stuff. So you capitalize on that talent to boost your, boost your brand. And then there's some people may be able to sing, and some people are just goofy dads like me. And so you got that plethora of people that can help boost your brand and add the human element, like you said, on the front end. So
Yeah. A lot of good ways to incorporate your employees and make people feel really good about hiring your business, because they're not just hiring your business, they're hiring your family, right? It's your family and that person's family and all the people that benefit from you having an incredible business that's helping other people out there. So it really is, not to get too emotional about it at all, but it really is creating that community feel about how they're not just investing in their own home, but they're hiring the right people to come in their safe space, and they're supplying, business on your end for a really great person or a really great group of people.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, look, I know we hit or somewhere around the 30-minute mark. I don't even know. I lose track anymore. I should put a timer up like right here. Like, hey, Jordan. But if it's a good conversation, there's really good things that people need to hear, then I'll let it roll. And it needs to be rolled. But yeah. So anybody that has not gone through this customer journey of thinking about their front end content, thinking about their touch points, thinking about how they make a customer feel on their branding, all the way to that first human touch, which is or touch point, where it's super important how you answer the phone that first time, and actually answering the damn phone the first time.
Yes.
That's helpful. That part all the way through how you make them feel, all the way through the process of completing a job, doing an estimate, whatever it is, and then actually following up the right way. And that's once again those three big stages in the client's journey, mapping that out, and then always tweaking it, right? And I think Brittany just gave us some massive, just huge Easter egg steps, golden nuggets that can help you do that if you've never even thought about it before. And so, Brittany, super appreciate you coming on to talk about that stuff. While I knew a little bit of it, I learned probably there's probably 15 minutes worth in there that I'm going to pull back and I'm going to write down. And guess what? We're going to create more content around that. So
I love it. Good. I'm
it was
so
great
glad.
stuff. So, well, Brittany,
Good,
obviously, if you guys, if you need help, obviously with anything on the marketing or business development side, and especially account-based marketing too, Kyber Digital is set up for a lot of great things. So, Brittany, tell us real quick. Obviously, you can get in touch with me. I can get you the right people or offer any help you need. But what are other ways you can get in touch with you guys at Kyber?
Well, Kyber has a form fill on our website. So if you're interested, you can easily go there, tell us what you need, and we'll help you out. Jordan's a great resource, which is probably the easiest pathway to us, right? And then you can always just send us an email at info@kyberdigital.com, and someone will get back to you very quickly and hopefully with a friendly demeanor, and make it warm and fuzzy from start to finish. I think what's great about all the services we offer is that, like this customer journey, we look directly at yours, individualized. So it's not like a cookie cutter approach. Today we didn't even really touch on how to individualize your business, but all of those things are so important for those customers. So, but really, Jordan, you're probably the best way to start connecting with, where to start and how to grow. And I love what you're doing in the Facebook group. I'm a big fan.
Well, I appreciate it very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No, it's
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun, and it's obviously I'm going to. If you need help with anything at all, and that's what the group's for. Preferred, if you're not in the group already, it's just go into Facebook, search the groups, right? Search preferred contractors, hop in there. There's new content coming out daily. When I say daily, like literally 6 months, 6-7 months straight now. I lost track now. There's literally been content pieces coming out every single day that's going to help you in some form or fashion, whether it's marketing principles, marketing strategies, business development, ads, whatever, you name it. It's pretty much in there. It's going to help your contracting business grow. It's all leveraged by 3+ years of data that's actually working. And when it's changing, guess what? We're putting out content in that group of the changes that's happening. So, and it's all free there for you. It's all free for you to help. So anyways, yeah,
It's awesome.
that's
So awesome.
Awesome. Well, Brittany, thank you again so much. And thank you guys again for listening to Preferred Contractors Podcast. And until next time.